But I know for you, it just seems like you are booked and busy right now. I know, you've never really like taken a break from Hollywood, but does it feel different right now? Does it feel like there is, something different about this time in your life in particular?
It's crazy. I've got a life of Chuck's out now, and then Five Nights is coming, and Cross season two, Daredevil with Disney, Scream 7. I just did Behemoth with Tony Gilroy, Carrie with Mike Flanagan. I mean, it's been a really strange moment. I'm not, I think a lot of it stems from the success of Five Nights, right? I think that sort of reinvigorated my career in a really profound way, and I'm here for it. I'm excited and just really grateful to get these opportunities again.
Here for it too. Everyone is very excited for you right now.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I'm just curious, now that your kids are kind of around the age that you were when you made, your earlier films in the 90s, what do they think about them? Do they have like a favorite or anything like that from your catalog?
I don't think so. I mean, it's listen, that is one of those things that is better suited for them to answer. I think that if your dad or mother is a heart surgeon, like I don't think your kids come home and be like, "I'm so excited to hear about your surgery today." It's just a product of being a dad. That said, I think that as my kids get older, certainly, my middle kid Ace is an actor. They are on their own journey as an actor, but sort of having conversations about career, having, they just performed in Carrie, so they got their first job, which was exciting. Um, and having that to share between the two of us is great. But yeah, I think that each kid has their own sort of relationship with my celebrity, with who I am as, as an actor and my filmography. I don't, needless to say, it is not center of attention in this house. That's for sure.
That's fair. My dad was a mechanic. I know nothing about fixing cars, so
Exactly. It's very much the same thing.
and now let's talk Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I know Jason Blum has said they reacted to some of the criticism that the first film wasn't scary enough. I'm curious for you, just how they upped the ante this time around, what you are allowed to say. I know there's
Yeah, I
always
mean, I
going to be
think that that's it, right? I do think that. Listen, I think that the fans love the canon and the lore and
yeah,
the world, the backfilling of the world that people have had assumptions about for so long. The one thing that you heard time and time again is that the game is built on these jump scares. The game is this adrenaline infusing sort of experience, and so for them having more jump scares, having more set pieces, having more action seems to be like sort of what people were seeking. And to frankly, to Scott and Emma's credit, they heard that and have answered the call in a really, really fantastic way. It's been, I think the movies are great. But this one in particular is, I think it's way more exciting. I think fans are going to lose their minds.
even look like and like they have upped the game. You're outside, there's action pieces. It's even, it is creepy. So I think they are firing on all cylinders this time, which congrats to everyone involved.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, obviously, it does seem like we're going to be getting some backstory also this time for your character in particular.
Mm.
It looked like, we're going to be linking him to another character played by Skeet Ulrich. Nice reunion, obviously, Scream. Just revisiting that working relationship 30 years later.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't speak to if we're in the film together.
I know, I know.
Like, there's nothing I can really confirm or deny there. But I will say that having him be a part of the franchise, I think it's great for everyone above, everyone involved. I think that the way both Skeet and I, the one thing we have very much in common is how we approach fandoms, how we approach the relationship between a property, who we are as actors, and the fans themselves. The amount of respect and time we have with our Scream sort of following and that fandom. I think that Scott saw that directly and wanted to sort of bring that over into Five Nights in the way that we sort of hold that space for these characters in that community. Um, And listen, and having them on board is fantastic. We're at conventions together all the time. We know directly how much this fandom, how much this property means to the fans. And I think that, we don't take it lightly, and I'm excited to have them a part of this universe.
And you have a three picture deal for this franchise. And there's no way we're not getting Springtrap at some point. Just how excited are you to bring that character to life, whether or not it's this film, a future film, at some point for fans to
Yeah.
see it happen?
Yeah, I listen, the reality is that I think that, when the movie came out the first time on Peacock and in theaters, the fact that it did so well and it's such robust box office, I think that immediately you're starting to look forward to see, how far this movie franchise can go. The reality is that, we've got a big moment in front of us. December 5th. Are people going to go to the theaters? Are they going to go see it? The fingers are crossed on all of our parts, but needless to say that Hollywood chases good numbers. And the reality is that if people do go see it, then we will get the third movie. I, for one, am really hoping to get that chance. I think, the first movie and the second movie both follow game one and game two. And the third game is really the showdown between these two, between Mike and Afton and Springtrap. So we're hopeful that it all comes together.
About how close the Scream family is. You guys are still doing all these conventions together. Skeet, Jamie, Rose. Just is there like a Scream check chain? Just how has that relationship between you guys evolved over
Yeah, it's so
time?
funny. Somebody this last weekend, I was just in Michigan. We were just in Motor City Comic Con, and the moderator was like, the last question he asked is like, "Is there a Scream text chain?" And we're like, "No, but we should start one." So literally, we started one on WhatsApp like 2 days ago. So it's very funny you should say that. Yeah, the funny thing is, I think that listen, we all work together. We were all friends. We've all been friends our whole lives. But now I think we see each other, 50 days a year, 60 days a year. So, we eat every meal together. We're inseparable on the road. And so that level of friendship, that level of commitment, and how often we see each other has changed and sort of deepened the relationship, which has been really lovely.
You are somehow involved in the next movie. Just what have you been making of like the fan theories about it? I know you can't confirm, deny, say anything
Right.
about what happens, but has it been fun for you to kind of follow those along?
I've not seen one. I
It's
have not.
probably smarter. That way you don't have to
Yeah,
feign
yeah.
ignorance.
Listen, I think that, it's interesting is that the fans, it's the same thing a little bit with my kids we were talking about earlier. Like, their fans experience is the thing that makes it special for so many people that is just not how we sort of view the property. For me, it is a job that was very special in my life that had made a deep impact, that I made deep, very interpersonal relationships to the point where like they shaped who I am as a person. And like, some people go off to have college experiences. I went off and made a movie called Scream. So for me, it was a seminal moment in my life. But then I went on to do other things and other movies and other films and had kids and family and it's just it is and everyone that sort of adores that fan, that property and are fans of that, they all have those things too, but they have their relationship with that property that's so different than mine. The one thing I was saying this earlier today in an interview, which I thought was like, I just had this awareness that because we're talking about sort of the same question, like how does, what's the impact on you and seeing the movie be so relevant now. And I'm like, it's no impact on me. But I will say this is that this last Halloween, I was looking at these kids walking by, like Ghostface after Ghostface. Like, you have a scarecrow every 10th person, but there's, for every like 10 kids, four of them are Scream. Somebody's the gang from Scooby-Doo. And it's just like this weird, it's this weird sort of relationship I have with Halloween. But to be the fact that Skeet and I were the first in the masks, that we were the first ones to wear it. Now, as I get older, I'm like, oh, that's really weird. That's like a deep, strange thing. Is that the thing that we started is now so prevalent across that whole month. It's really
person wants to be if they're cast in the new movie too.
Right.
And just last thing is, I'm curious if you had seen Jacob Elordi just did an interview where he said Spooky Island is like one of his favorite movies. He watches it all the time. Just
I
again
think
talking about
I
like
think he
the
was
impact.
joking. Yeah, I think he was joking. I don't think he. Yeah, yeah. He's like
I
it's a
he
great set.
definitely loves Scooby Doo,
Yeah,
like across the board, the franchise.
yeah, yeah. It's very funny. I did see that. Somebody, my kid sent that to me. Uh, yeah, I did see that. Look, as you get older, you're. I will say this that for so much of my career, it was always about like what's next, what's next, what's next, climbing this ladder of like a career and success. And as you get older, it's nice to every now and then stop and just appreciate how far up you've come. And that this certainly in this moment, right, where I'm having all these things happening and having this like resurgence, you can't help but to be grateful and just to be here, still working, still doing the thing I love and getting more opportunities than I've ever had. I mean, just finished Carrie with Mike Flanagan, and to me, it's one of the great experiences of my entire career. The way he operates, how he builds the way he lets actors shine. I just loved every second of it. So I can't wait to keep getting these chances.